Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Brickman's Hall of Fame. I have a treat for you today. We're here with Norris Watson. He's been in the industry for 33 years now, basically through the transition from Jenkins all the way through into the Acme Brick, and a wealth of knowledge and experience, and we're going to tap into some of that today and share a moment of time with him. So one of the things I want to start out with, Norris, is welcome to the show, and thank you so much for doing this. One of the neat things that was shared to me by Dennis was that when Acme, it was about 25% of the size or I should say Jenkins was about 25% of the size of Acme Brick. And when you Acme purchased Jenkins, you guys actually became the number one brick manufacturer in the United States as far as that goes. Even more regional, but still size-wise was amazing. But at the same time that you did, he saw that there was two different cultures to merge, and he said you played a huge role in merging two cultures. One that Jenkins had not as employees, there was associates, and where Acme was always employees, which a couple thousand, I mean a lot of employees when you guys merged together. Tell us a little bit about how that came about in that story.
Well, when you have two different companies or another company, we obviously were manufacturing and producing brick at Jenkins when we were purchased, but we also sold 50% of what we sold in our distribution yards were from other manufacturers, and 50% we made. And that was a little different than what Acme had done. Acme was primarily what we manufactured, we sold, and we didn't have many other outside vendors that would supply to us. At Jenkins, 50% outside, 50% of our manufacturing, and then we had purchase products. That could be mortar, angle iron, lintels, cleaners. We sold tile, some flooring, so we had quite a few products. So that was one of the things I think that intrigued Acme or Dennis Canals in purchasing us, is one, to try to gain some of that knowledge so that we could learn from each other. We could get better manufacturing ideas from Acme, and Acme can learn how we're more of a distribution center for other products. We have a central warehouse as well that we utilize. So it was quite an operation through trial and error to make that work, but it was one that was successful until the downturn.
The brilliance of that is, you think about is, if you didn't represent some of those other manufacturers, they would have to find a menu or venue to really promote their product. So do they have to open up their showroom? Do they have to do other things? And where you can bond with them and build that profitable partnership with them.
That's right. And we need those products because we need a larger palette. We've got a lot of terrific architectural salespeople and residential salespersons that are traveling, or the Southeast region or the old Jenkins footprint. And the more they had in their, I guess, quiver to go out and take orders, the better off we were. So with our two plants, we really didn't have, or three plants at the time when they purchased us, we didn't have as much to offer. And, clays in certain areas only allow you to make, certain type of product. So we needed other manufacturers to help us grow our sales, maintain the sales that we have, and give the consumer what he wants.
Norris, tell me about Dennis Canals. What does he mean to you and the Acme Brick Company?
Well, once I've known Dennis before the purchase, obviously, of Jenkins Brick, but
in 2011.
In 2011, when we were purchased, Dennis really, showed me a different view of maybe the way I was thinking before. And when I say that, I mean more of a national image. Before I was thinking about what was happening just there in Alabama or the Southeast. And he's really opened my eyes to safeguarding the industry. And that's with the MAC ruling or codes that could be a disruptor for our business. And he's always been, rang the bell for promotional efforts, whether it be through the brick ordinances there in Texas and throughout the Southeast. And, we were way behind trying to catch up with that in the Southeast. And it's just, he's forward thinking, progressive, smart man, honest guy. He makes mistakes, but, he gets it. He doesn't make a lot of them. But he's really sharp, and he's got an accounting background and CPA, so he understands the numbers backwards and forwards, which is very helpful. Make sure that you're profitable. we enjoy working with Dennis, and he's taught me a lot.
He introduced, of course, you and I are at the Brick Forum together down in Florida, Jacksonville, and Dennis today kicked off the keynote speaker and introduced him, and he got up there and he did a plug about being part of the BIA and stuff like that. And so I listened to him. Actually, I videotaped him on my phone. I did a little clip on it for a couple minutes, but I saw the president CEO in him, but I also saw the salesman in him. So of him being such a controller, to all the things he did, always being such a numbers guy for starting for Acme all those years, and to what he's become, he's the full package. If ever I met anybody, he's the full package. You and I are part of sales, and we know sales, and we understand sales, and we sell brick. So we have common ground. I don't have the controller, even though I run a business, I don't have the controller number aspect that Dennis has. And Dennis kind of shows me some of that stuff, which is kind of amazing side of him. I figured out early on, I've told this story before, that he had hired Ray when I was at dinner with him. And he looked at me like, why did I ask the question? How did I know? Because Ray is that numbers guy. He does all the stats and all those different things all the way through. So amazing individual. He's really impressed me. Just as more and more I've done background and research and got to know him and spend time with him, he's just an amazing individual. How about a fun story? Do you have a fun story on Dennis? Anything you think of that pops to mind?
The only thing I could say that we went on a fishing trip, and he's an avid outdoorsman. He really likes to pike fish, and we went up to Canada, and he not only fished all day, but he played cards at night, and you kind of got to let him see him let his hair down and be one of the guys, and it's kind of neat to watch a guy who's got that much going on 24/7 with his family, with the company, and then but to go out and mix it up with the rest of us, and I think he may have caught I know he caught the biggest fish the previous trip, but he was right up there close to us with the biggest fish, and of course, I think he may have won the money in the poker game that night too.
Oh, nice!
So.
Yes, he's got it going for him. That's for sure. How about he's been involved on the BIA for a lot of years, chairman twice, and you've been involved in the BIA for as far as back in time into the 90s,
yes,
right?
That's right.
Amazing journey you've had. So the BIA has really been important to him. It's been important to you. You guys invest a lot of time and energy in all that. Tell me a little bit about the BIA.
BIA is so important that make sure that we are looking for ways to better our industry and have a place to sell our product. Again, I mentioned codes earlier. If we don't stay on top of what is, there's regulations coming down in different wall models that may not be conducive for us. If we don't stay on top of that, we could lose our business. And then, of course, the MAC ruling is something that we've struggled with now for the last, 15 years, 12 years, and it's still going on. And hopefully, we're going to get some new updates on that shortly. But that BIA, in some case, in a lot of respects, I don't know that we realize how important it is that industry functions and really helps safeguard our industry as well. We've come from, I guess, 30-something members there at BIA. Now they're down to 9. So, we've had to
brick
cut
manufacturers, right? Actual brick manufacturers.
Well,
right?
no. I'm talking about the members of BIA, the staff members. So we've really.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, we've really had to cut that way back. So
what a team you have now, though, right? What a good group.
That's right.
Wow, I did not realize that of all the time that changes.
I believe that maybe it's 10 members now that what we have. So we've cut it way back as far as all the people that are working for us, and we're getting a lot for less now, and it needs to be. And so we've combined the Southeast with BIA National, so it all made sense. And this is what you do when you've gone through some trying times, and I think we're better for it now.
So touching on just, you're talking about the codes and different things we had, being in some of the meetings with you, I'd hear you talk about it. Stan inspired me to try to learn more about it, because sitting next to him, he would say the same message you do. And Stan, one of the meetings really spoke up. I sat next to him, visit with him, and he really was so passionate about it that we need to get more involved. So we had Stan talk a little bit about that, how important that is. I'm going to have you touch on it too, of us getting more involved, because we're losing brick. And I'll give you an example of what Stan says. A developer has a choice to do whatever he wants, and he builds whatever he wants, and he's in and gone. Or a builder comes in and he has the property for 9 months and sells it and goes, and he puts whatever product he wants in outside. The city really has responsibility of that building now for the rest of the next 30, 40 years or whatever. They're trying to collect taxes and do things with it. And what it affects everybody around it. It affects the village you live in. We traveled. I took my son Logan when we were down a couple weeks ago in your area in Fort Worth. I took him through the areas. You want to live in those areas. They're all brick homes. They're gorgeous. That's where the millennials should say, I want to go live. But we're losing that up north. I don't have the brick on the homes up north that you guys have still down here in the southeast. It's fantastic what you do with brick. I love brick. But up north, it's hard to find it to get on brick homes anymore, especially the housing. So tell us a little bit about, if you're anybody else watching or listening today, how can they get more involved in their communities, their towns, to be able to get where brick is more specified, or an ordinance for brick?
Well, it's just be vocal. I mean, be aware of what is going in your neighborhoods. And I mean, if you're building with a subpar skin on your house, that veneer could deteriorate and really make a neighborhood look, I guess, kind of on a subpar level fairly quickly. We run into scenarios where, a Michigan study was done years ago where they talk about the appreciation of brick home neighborhoods. Michigan study said that we're getting somewhere around a 9% appreciation, a 7 to 9% appreciation on brick. And you're not getting that with the other products. They're usually deteriorating. Okay. You've got maintenance factors, that, of course, painting, cleaning of vinyl. Once you clean vinyl, does it really look that good after you clean it as well? It warps, it bubbles, and things when you press it. So what we're trying to do is make sure that we're presenting to our customer or to communities what would be the best product that we think would carry them through the next 50, 60, 70 years, not the next year to get the builder off the hook for the warranty, but or the next 5 years to get him to he sold his and bought his next house, being the customer who purchased the home. But as you said, the city in a way owns the house, and some, that they're kind of held to that type standard. And if they don't have a high standard or try to raise their standards, then the neighborhoods could fall down or go down, and we not have a really the best neighborhood to live in or the best community to live in. So they may choose somewhere else. So we think our ordinances that we are trying to promote and put out there are very important to grow not only the brick business, but strong, lasting neighborhoods.
No, that's really good. And so that takes me into the next question: is tell us a little bit about the true value of brick. Tell us about the true value of brick.
Well, the true value of brick is something that I think is very important. I mean, there's a lot of facts that are maybe misled out there from competitive products that are competing with us. One being fiber cement. Of course, vinyl is another. But brick is, as I said earlier, there's an appreciation that happens over time. There's also an appraisal value that will happen immediately. That if you build, say, a 50 by 40 foot home, and let's say you put a queen size brick on it, you'll get an extra 3.5 inches on each side, which will translate into about 49 extra square foot in the entire house. When your appraisal comes out and appraises the house, and he pulls a tape measure to it, which that's how he measures the house, you'll get that extra 50 square feet or 49. And if the house appraises for, let's say, 150, that's $7,500 that's added to your value of your home. More than likely, depending on where you're living, it only costs somewhere between $1,500 to $3,000 to add brick to the house. And that's everything included. So a lot of people don't know that. So you come out ahead by building with the brick home on the appraisal value. You also have no maintenance with brick, or very limited maintenance. Yes. And some people say that there's no maintenance on some other fiber cement. First came out and said there's no maintenance. Well, that's not true. They'll tell you that you're supposed to clean their homes or clean that fiber cement maybe twice a year, but at least once a year. You need to have gutters. keep the water away from it.
Yep.
You can't have bushes next to it. There's more maintenance there. You have to caulk when needed, and then of course you have to paint. And right now it looks like, well, what we've seen is somewhere between 6 to 9 years or 10 years you'll be painting that house. That could be $3,000 to $7,000 depending on what size house it is. It's very expensive, and a lot of people are not factoring that in. You also have heating and cooling costs that you can save with brick.
Yes.
And that's real important. There's been a study done at Clemson that is taking the wall, a brick wall comparison to a fiber cement wall comparison, and just those two walls, no windows, but what it takes to heat the inside of the sheetrock, that energy level is 28% less on a brick wall than it is the fiber cement. That 1-inch cavity wall, something that we're getting that we get credit for now, that shows this insulation in the wall that I think ASHRAE has not given us in the past, but these new hot box studies are telling us that we can save 28%. Now, does that mean that we're going to save 28% on our heating and cooling costs in a house? No, it does not. But somewhere in that 10 to 14% is the potential that you can save on heating and cooling costs with a brick home.
Absolutely.
Obviously, what windows you have and how big the house is and the insulation in the ceilings, all those things, open and shutting the doors, what kind of air conditioning you have. But wall to wall, there's a 28%. Now that's based on, when I say 28%, that's based on Atlanta. I think Nashville was in the 26%.
Okay.
Louisville was 24%. But we're doing real world cycles of heating and cooling costs versus the climate that goes year long. And so that's what they call the hot box testing. So we really think that that's a real benefit.
Insurance?
Yeah, insurance, yes, great point. Insurance is somewhere between 7 to 8%, 9% savings on insurance if you just tell them that you have a brick home. And so you can save on that.
It adds up over the years.
Oh yeah, every year. And it's eco-friendly. I mean, it's a green product. It could be reused. I mean, it's just, and you don't have to maintain it. You don't have to clean it with chemicals and whatnot. You can, but normally you don't. Usually brick looks the worst it'll look the day you put it up. It only, gets better with age.
It does.
So, I mean, that's where I would say that we're clearly the superior choice. It's just that we've had a lot of promotions and a lot of companies out there that's done a good job promoting a look or a product that they feel is best. But in the end of the day, I think there's nothing better than brick, and it's tried and true for thousands of years.
It really is. So a year ago, I'm going to tell you a story that I thought of you is at our corporate office in South Bend. We don't know if it was a guy just want to light fires and it's going around and to be a problem or whatever, but there were several fires going on. It ended up being a house caught on fire. They got it put out in time right next to we have a training center where we certify contractors to do what we do throughout the country.
Right.
So we have a school. So right next door, that house caught on fire. So I'm there with a water hose hoping that it does not get to my building. And then our corporate office is right next door. Just down the street, there's been 2 buildings burnt down over the years. And every time the fire is going, you worry about, and it's all brick buildings. So you worry about it just coming from one brick building to another, but it was maintained. Most of the inside's all destroyed, but the roof's gone. But the brick wall stopped it from taking out the whole core of us. And I thought of you of our fire rating, the fire rating that you did. Tell us about the fire rating.
Well, we did a 1-hour fire rating on brick, where you do a test. We did this with the Southwest Laboratories in San Antonio. The vinyl, of course, burned in minutes, very quickly. The fiber cement did not pass and was on fire and caught fire and burned. And the brick, it shows a picture of it. They're hosing it off with water and it's good to go. So it went beyond the hour. Don't know how much further it would have gone beyond that, but firemen usually will give a thumbs up for brick. It's truly the best product. I mean, we're firing it at 2,000 degrees or over.
Yeah.
So it's going to make it. It's a great product. But something as simple as just a grass or a lawn fire can cause real problems for some building products, but it won't with brick.
So think about all the fires that potentially happen and what it can happen spread from one home to another home to another home. The brick homes really is the protection that you would want to have that. So you want to talk about being safe and safe in a house. There's nothing more about safety, but what about talk about the different things of firing a 2x4?
Yeah, so
And a
you
brick
got
wall.
impact resistance as well. Great point. We've done impact tests with 2x4s, and of course they go right through the vinyl and the fiber cement homes, whereas a brick it bounces off. In fact, Clemson, they broke for lunch, and I think they threw an orange
They
or
did.
had projected an orange through the fiber cement wall. So that's it's pretty amazing to see. It was going at a pretty high speed, but if an orange can go through your house, what else can go through there? I mean,
Absolutely.
and of course, you would, as far as bullets or things of that nature, or a tornado coming by, that could be very devastating, or just have little Johnny in the backyard playing with a baseball. He may not knock the baseball through the wall, but he'll do a lot of damage to some of these products, and brick it, will just bounce off.
Think about, so you got Tornado Alley. So if you take that out of the equation, tornadoes could show up anywhere. And then you think about the hurricanes or the storms that came in off the coast. And there's different years we get hit harder and harder. You think about they create tornadoes and other things off those that come in too. But just shear winds. It's not necessarily a tornado. It's a high shear wind that comes down and cuts through and takes out trees and other things that have those. I've seen a piece of straw stuck in a telephone pole.
Right.
A piece of straw stuck in a telephone pole. I mean, that's just, how is that even in my mind? How is that even possible? But it does with such force. So those are things to do. So there's tremendous of advantages to brick, just not the warmth and beauty of brick that it has with it. It's Gary Davis. Do you remember Gary Davis? You know him
Yes.
for a lot of years.
Right.
Think about Gary always says, we need to bring back the romance of brick. If we can bring back the romance. We were shared with us one of the meetings that you and I are at, that the millennials believe that, not saying that this is absolutely 100% true, but it's one of the studies that they did. The millennials believe that most brick are red. It's just red brick.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's not the case. We've got colors from white to black to grays to buffs. We've got a whole spectrum. We've got green, even blue. So we've got quite a few colors to offer. And it really depends on what area you're in and what's popular. So
And sizes.
yeah, in different sizes, yes, from modular to queen to king to estate to, there's just a whole list of items that you can pick from. But it's truly, of course, I'm biased. It's one of the best building products there are, because it has been around for ages, and there's a reason for it. It works and it lasts.
And I that's a great point. And I'm biased also with you, so we're on the same accord. But I still couldn't challenge that. I couldn't say, I really agree with you. I really like it to be brick or whatever. But there's really another product. I cannot come up with another product that's lasted the test of time as brick. I cannot.
Nope,
It's not out there.
it isn't out there.
No, that's great. No, that's some great stuff. What would you say to somebody that's coming into the brick industry today, a young man or young woman that's going to come into the brick industry today? What would you say to them?
Well, it's just a great product that is you just salt of the earth people that really care about trying to put together, I guess, a wall system that will last and that you're proud of and that you can feel like you can sink your teeth into and say, hey, I did that job and I know that it'll be here 50, 100 years from now, and that's mine, and that's what I've created. Whether you're on the production end or the sales end, it goes all the way through it. I think we're kind of the backbone of this type product, is the backbone of what America was built on, and it's been here for many years. It'll be here for years to come, and we just need to get the word out and make sure that people understand how important brick is to the longevity of a home.
And Acme Brick makes a great brick. You guys you back it for 100 years.
That's right. We sure do. 100-year warranty, and we, brick is not going to go away. It's just if you've got a good foundation and the house is constructed properly, there's just not much that can go wrong with it. It's a heck of a product, and like I said before, you really don't need to clean it, and it looks the worst the day it goes up. It just seems to add character and age over time, and just makes it look better.
It does. And we never say that you can't, brick is maintenance free, but we never said You don't need to maintain your home. You might need retuck pointed at some point,
You
depending
could.
how many years and all that. But basically, the brick is solid. It's going to be there all the way through.
That's
So,
right.
what would you say? I'll give you a chance. How about a plug for Acme Brick Company itself? Here's your chance to do that salesman side of you. And what would you say to anybody that's looking to buy a brick and you say you got a choice, it's between Acme and somebody else? Why buy Acme Brick?
Well, I think it's because of our people, our associates. We have people who care, who want to listen to our customers, find out what he needs, what he wants, and give him the product that will suit his needs, and make sure it's a good match. Um, Obviously, after that, we've got to service it. We've got, we have our own trucks, we have our own manufacturing,
You do. I
we
forgot
have our
about that.
own distribution facilities, and/or we sell through distributors that we have obviously interviewed and worked with for many, many years. And so we've been very blessed to have such a great group of distributors out there. So I think that we'll stand behind our product, and it's our people, I think, that make the difference in the long run.
I can tell you from me personally and being in the business over 30 years now myself that most of my 17 years when I was with Glengarry, I was your competitor. So I sold against you guys. And so I didn't get to know you as well. But this last year or so, I've got to know a lot of it. And you got a lot of employees, so I haven't got to see everybody. But the majority of the Acme Brick, I've been really impressed with Acme Brick Company. And I can say that, I can't always say that about everybody, but I can tell you that the hospitality of Acme Brick, it's amazing. And I'll share a story, a simple story, just give you a comparison that I'm just not blowing smoke for everybody and I say how great everybody is. I try to be positive the most time. Sioux City Brick, when I was with you guys, when we were out in Colorado for the BI meetings, and I was out there, I'd planned to try to stop to see the Adele plant, Sioux City Brick, on the way out or the way back, maybe see a salesman there, go visit them and do that. So we've been talking back and forth for a good week or 10 days. And on the way back, we're coming back to go see him, and I'm not going asking for a plant tour. I've grew up in all these plants. I see so many plants. I don't know that I want to see another one right now, but
Right.
I just want to stop and say hello, drop off a business card and say hello and visit, and just, face to face. I'm a people person. I want to meet you and greet. And they told us not to come. They said we could not come. And I said, what do you mean we can't come? And Sean Hoffman, my regional sales manager, is talking to them. They're cleaning the plant to do a radio show the next day. Cleaning the plant to do a radio show. So obviously they're busy, they're cleaning up, but I'm thinking it's radio, not TV, right?
Right.
And they said no. So why we couldn't make it, and we're trying to set up as we're driving there, we pick up the phone and we call Glengarry, the Redfield plant. And they were having meetings, and they're doing their budget meetings, and that gets pretty intense when you have a budget meetings, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, can we stop by for 15 minutes to say hello? Absolutely love to see you. You stop in, you're there. We're there almost 40 minutes just visiting with them, whatever. I didn't go through a plant. I didn't go through. I'm not looking to steal any technology or secrets, whatever. Just want to stop at the office and say hello. And they openly received me. Okay. And that's it is for Endicott. That's what you guys have been about for the longest time. So we dusted our feet off of Sioux City. I'm going to retell that story 100 times. I'm telling it on TV now. But and I don't hate Sioux City. It's just what had happened back then. But that didn't have to be necessary. But when I come to Acme, you guys are the classiest act so far that I've ever seen. I mean, I could say that about Belden too, but you guys are. You guys are one of the classiest acts I've ever seen.
Well, sir, people. I mean, I'm very fortunate that I've been surrounded by just great associates that help me. That it makes it work. So sometimes we stub our toe, we make a mistake, but we try to make it right. And hopefully we've got open communications where my regional managers could talk to me and say, hey, this is what's happened. How do we fix it?
True.
How do we get through it? So those things can happen with the Sioux City. It could happen with us, possibly somewhere, but we try to correct it. And we try to understand what is going on. And hopefully we've got associates who believe that they can make a difference and make a decision to do the right thing. And, that comes from Dennis Knautz, through me down through our organization, throughout our production, the whole company. And it's hard, you're trying to develop that culture or the people that can respect themselves and the jobs that they have. And it's something that it's kind of like catching lightning in a bottle. It's hard to do, but when you do it, it really shows. And I've got, for me personally, I know I've got John Fault and Terry Dove and Bill Davis. They just do a terrific job, and then the people below them it just falls in line. really helps. And it doesn't mean that we don't have some differences from time to time, but in the end, we all are on the same team. We're pushing in the same direction.
You guys are great. And I can tell you, Norris had a ton of places to be, ton of people to see, and he took his time, valuable time. He took time to be with us today, and I got to tell you how much we appreciate you doing that. And I just want to say, Norris Watson, everybody, great guy, great person to get to know, and thank you.